Hello out there. I would like to pose a challenge. It's basically a question addressed to anyone who doesn't believe in God or who is at least testing out the idea of atheism. It's a question to which I've never heard a good answer, even though I've heard many answers. But obviously, I'm no expert. You can tell by my age, and so if you do have an answer, by all means, enlighten me. This is the question. Without a God, how can one rationally believe in morality? That is, barring any supernatural explanation, can you explain why some things would be right and some things wrong? As I said, I've never heard a satisfactory answer. Mostly I hear things like, well, humans evolved, like, to help each other and, mutual altruism, and of course if I help you, you help me, we are all better off. But that's not answering the question at all, unfortunately, because just because you can explain why I think some things are wrong and right, or why you think they are, you can't actually say that they are wrong or right with any rational argument behind it, unless you believe in the supernatural. So basically, say why I ought to do what is not right. I mean, what is right. And even if I'm not going to be better off, why ought I? In a debate that was posted on ChristianityToday.com recently between Christopher Hitchens, an atheist, and Douglas Wilson, a Christian, the same question was asked, and Hitchens, unfortunately, though he had a lot of wit and some good arguments, did not give a satisfactory answer to this question. But Wilson posed it in a very interesting way, so I'd like to read what he said for you. He posed a thought experiment. Take the vilest atheist you have ever heard of. Imagine yourself sitting in his bedside shortly before he passes away. He says, following Sinatra, "I did it my way." And then he adds, chuckling, "Got away with it too." In our thought experiment, the one rule is that you must say something to him, and whatever you say, it must flow directly from your shared atheism with the dying man. That was my wish. And it must challenge the morality of his choices. What can you possibly say? He did get away with it. There's a great deal of injustice behind him, which he perpetrated, and no justice in front of him. You have no basis for saying anything to him other than to point out your own set of personal prejudices and preferences. You mention this to him, and he shrugs. Tomato, tomato. Yeah. What could you say without a moral foundation? Like, as a Christian, I could say to a Christian dying who had lived a terrible life, done many horrible things, I could reiterate what he did wrong and why it was wrong, and call him to repentance based on the scriptures and the doctrines of the faith. An atheist couldn't call on any of those. He could say, well, society would have been better off if you'd done this or that, but he couldn't say, you should have done this or that. So one other thing I'd like to throw out there is that, of course, there are many moral atheists and good people, and most atheists are moral people and do believe in morals. They're usually humanists, and but I think this is the most irrational belief, because you can't explain it without a belief in the supernatural. In fact, I think they do believe in the supernatural. They put a supernatural value upon their moral standards, which are really just their opinions because they don't have any authority behind it. So, if you disagree with me, that's my challenge. Refute what I've just said. Answer the question, how can you believe in morality without God? Thanks.